In Moscow, Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov confirms that the Kremlin will closely analyze President-elect Donald Trump's stance on Ukraine once he takes office. This comes as the US prepares for a new chapter in its relationship with Russia, especially concerning Kyiv's NATO ambitions. Speaking to reporters at his annual press conference, Lavrov noted that Russia is waiting for the incoming administration to finalize its position on Ukraine. He stated that until Trump is inaugurated, all remarks remain preparatory as the focus shifts to the US president's first moves once he enters the Oval Office.
Once U.S. President Donald Trump becomes president and formulates his final position on Ukrainian affairs, of course we will study it. Everything being said now is being said in preparation for the inauguration, in preparation for serious matters. As Donald Trump himself said, it's the preparation for entering office. He understands that first he needs to move into the Oval Office.
While no formal meeting has been scheduled between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Trump, Lavrov emphasized that both leaders are open to talks. However, Lavrov stressed that this can only occur once Trump is fully in office and has a concrete position on Ukraine.
So, we will wait for concrete initiatives. President Vladimir Putin has said many times that he is ready to meet, but so far there haven't been such offers. Then President Trump said that Putin wanted to meet, and I think they should meet. But first, he has to enter the office.
Lavrov welcomed comments from Trump's incoming National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz, on the situation in Ukraine. Waltz and Trump, according to Lavrov, have already acknowledged the role of NATO in escalating the conflict by supporting Kyiv's alignment with the alliance.
The very fact that people have started to mention the realities on the ground more often is probably worthy of welcome. Mr. Waltz, Donald Trump's pick for National Security Advisor, Florida Rep. Mike Waltz, who, as I understand, will be the National Security Advisor, and President Trump himself in his big interview have already mentioned the reasons for the conflict in the part that concerns dragging the Kyiv regimes into NATO.
For Russia, Lavrov made it clear that securing its western borders and addressing NATO's encroachment is paramount. He suggested that any resolution to the Ukraine conflict will depend on broader security guarantees, hinting that Russia is ready to discuss security arrangements for Ukraine's self-determined regions.
Threats on the western flank, on our western borders, must be eliminated as one of the main reasons of conflict. They can probably be eliminated only in the context of some broader agreements. We are ready to discuss security guarantees for the country, which is now called Ukraine, or a part of this country, which has not yet self-determined, unlike Crimea, Donbass, and Novorossiya.
NATO chief Mark Rutte delivers a stark reality check to Europe, emphasizing its heavy dependence on the US for defense funding as America contributes over 60% of NATO's budget. Rutte warned that Europe's defense situation is critical, especially with former President Trump's stance on prioritizing America's interests over European protection.
The US is spending over 60% of all the money is being spent within NATO territory, over 60%. That means the other 31 are doing less than 40%, including Canada. And so it is an illusion that you can build a European NATO over the next 10 or 15 years. And why would you? I mean, the transatlantic relationship, I think, after the First World War, but particularly after the Second World War, has served us very well. So why would we disconnect from the US? I would be against it. But again, if you want this for ideological reasons, then you have to quadruple or even more your defense spending.
Speaking in Brussels, Rutte emphasized that if European countries don't increase defense spending, they may be safe now, but their security will be compromised in just a few years.
The 2%, everything I'm seeing at this moment, is not nearly enough. And if we don't do it, we are safe now, but not in 4 or 5 years. So if you don't do it, get out your Russian language courses or go to New Zealand. Or decide now to spend more. And that's exactly the debate we have to finalize over the next 3 or 4 months. To stay safe in this part of the world and defend ourselves.
NATO defense ministers from 5 European countries also met near Warsaw to discuss continued support for Ukraine amid the ongoing conflict with Russia, focusing on strengthening defense capabilities. Polish Defense Minister Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz emphasized the importance of security and defense spending, with NATO reaffirming its commitment to Ukraine's sovereignty and reinforcing its alliance. Security is the most important issue today. There is no issue more important than security for Europe, and there is no issue more important than spending on security, organization, and the 3 basic pillars of a strong Europe. This is a strong society, that is, our resistance to hybrid warfare. This is a strong army, strong national armies, and the strength of our alliance. As NATO prepares for the future, Lavrov's remarks suggest that Trump's stance could challenge Ukraine's NATO membership aspirations, with Moscow demanding new security agreements and recognition of the threat posed by NATO's eastward expansion. The outcome of these potential discussions could reshape Ukraine's future, with Lavrov stressing that any talks must address Russia's security concerns and the strategic threat from NATO's movement closer to its borders. With Moscow awaiting Trump's final position, Ukraine's NATO aspirations remain uncertain, as Lavrov makes it clear that securing Russia's western borders is a key condition for any meaningful dialogue or agreement. NATO is pushing European nations to increase defense spending, highlighting the changing global power dynamics. Europe's defense strategy will play a key role in shaping the alliance's future, especially regarding Ukraine's position in global security.